What's up, everybody? Just wanted to download a couple thoughts here. Change is obviously something that always happens in our lives, but a lot of people write a bad story about how they handle change or their relationship with it. And it's kind of important to understand that if you look back on your own life and the series of things that have happened to you to develop your current idea of yourself, there's a portion of change that's happened in your life that you were an initiator of, and there's a portion of change that happened in your life that you weren't an initiator of, that maybe you were a reactor to, as kind of like a counter perspective. And the reason it's important to distinguish the fact that both of those have a place in your past is because a lot of times people who fear change or maybe have a bad identity about how they handle change, when they look back, they only seem to remember the times where they were being reactive, where change came and found them, and then they had to do something to respond. And when you have that kind of mentality, or you've written that kind of story about yourself, and you're only selecting that evidence from your life, change becomes something that's like predatory, and it gives you a response like you are prey, and it makes you defensive and avoidant. And it causes you to look at change and the results of change through a deficit mentality where you're just trying to preserve or survive. And it's important to maybe go back through your life and look for evidence or examples where you were an initiator of change, where you were the seeker and you were the person who put things in motion and life had to respond to you. And if you can find enough of that evidence, you'll start realizing that those may even be the examples where it went better, or if it at least didn't go the way you wanted it to, you learned something or developed in a way that made it worth it in the net. And if you can look for that, you can start altering how you perceive yourself in relationship to change in general. And you'll stop writing a bad story or bad identity about, oh, I just don't like change, or, oh, you hear people say things like that pretty frequently, and then you kind of like stop and pause and think and go, literally life consists of change. And although there's things we all maybe don't like about certain aspects of our lives, in general, when you hear someone saying that, you can look at them and go, yeah, but you're alive. Yeah, but, in most cases you're healthy, or, you're stabilized to some degree. Like, your life's not an utter tragedy all around. So not all of that change has affected you in such a negative way. Yet when you're projecting into the future, or you hear those people projecting into the future, they're always scared of change. And so it's almost like they're only looking at half the evidence in their own life because they have this filter or perspective on that just isn't that serving. And so it's important to challenge that in yourself and in other people. If you have that comfort level and rapport with them where you can do that in a productive way, I think it's helpful, one, just to recognize it, because, if you see it in other people, you'll see it when you yourself do it, and then you'll stop doing it and start flipping it around into something that's a little more self-serving, or something that's a little more empowering than just going, I'm a victim to change, when the truth is, there's a lot of scenarios and examples in your life where you were an initiator, and life had to try and keep up with you, or had to alter circumstances to meet your demands for different in your life. And it usually goes better that way most of the time. So food for thought. Thought I'd share that. If you find it helpful, awesome. I hope it does help, and I'll catch you guys on the next one.